Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of That Smiled. It's a gorgeous day here in Bristol and I've enjoyed going shopping. Did I buy anything? No, but I had a good look. And I've been trying to find a few things recently that, number one, a new pair of jeans, because I wear the same jeans all the time, but I can never find a pair that fit me. And then in my recent video on TikTok, I tried on multiple pair of jeans, but I just went through them, and none of them fit me. And then the one pair that I liked that I was going to order again in a smaller size, sold out. So, no new jeans for Tegan, but other than that, it's been a good day. And I've been thinking a lot about dating and what that means. And in previous episodes, I did an episode called Pretty Lonesome, which is the feeling of being lonely or lonely in your 20s and like not knowing how to make friends. And I recently did a video which is I'd rather die alone, which was about rather being alone romantically rather than being in a toxic environment or toxic relationship or be with someone that does not serve you in the way that you deserve. And I was thinking about the middle ground, which is lonely but not alone. And I'm thinking about this a lot recently because I feel like when you're growing up in your 20s, you crave connection, you crave intimacy, you crave relationships and people to talk to, and you can have that without being romantic in a way. Like, you can have the same feeling without being in a relationship. So let's discuss more. I had to write notes because I felt like that's the only way that I'm going to get my words out in the way that I want to. So I'm going to read some of my notes in case you are watching. That's what I'm doing. But what I wrote about. Okay, so first let's talk about what it feels to be lonely. So when you're lonely, it just means that you're not necessarily alone, but you're alone in the way that you feel. Because you can be with someone, but if they don't make you feel seen, then you can feel lonely because of that. Or same with friendship. If you have a group of friends that maybe don't involve you in plans, don't invite you out anymore, don't talk to you as much, you can feel lonely. And even though you have people around you, because of the lack of communication or intention, intimacy, conversation, that can make you feel lonely. And what I was thinking about, because I've had this recently where like I crave attention from certain people, but then when they're not giving it to me in the way that I want to have it, which is just like, I feel like I always give my full commitment to people. I will ask them about their day and how they are, and actually that's a fat lie, not gonna lie, that's a fat lie. Sometimes I just can't be asked to know like how your day went. Recently, I've been having more conversations with friends and with like people that I'm talking to, like 30 conversations, but I feel like I'm only half plugged in, and that's probably because one, I feel like they're either not reciprocating the type of communication, they're not asking me things that I will be asking them. And I think when you're also disabled, there's like a disconnect in a way because people are curious, people admire you and they support you, but that doesn't always translate to intimacy and connection. And people talk to you out of curiosity, rather than like down to earth personal level, if that makes sense. Like, people are more likely to want to know surface level stuff. I'm quite a deep person. I like to get deep into conversation and deep into like thought and what we think about things. And I think when you're disabled, people either brush over it and they don't care that you're disabled, or that puts up a barrier and like sways the way the conversation works. And lately, it's either people being like overly cautious around me and not really wanting to involve me in certain situations, or people just like not forget I exist, but forget I exist. Like, unless I reach out to them and say, "Hey, how are you? What are you up to?" Then I wouldn't ever get that back, which is kind of sad. But I do think that I could be better myself because I think I'm very in my own world most of the time, and I'm not very good necessarily at reaching out to people after if I haven't spoken to them in a while, I forget to reach out until like I get a reminder that like I see them or something, and then I think, oh yeah, like it'd be really nice to hang out and go to lunch and do all that. So I get it because I'm the same. I'm very forgetful, and I feel like relationships and friendships that I'm in, that I'm seeing regularly, I'm very good at maintaining and making sure that like that person feels heard and seen. And it's not always reciprocated. And that's why you can feel lonely, because even though the person there, they're not acknowledging you the same depth as you are them. So that's kind of what I mean by loneliness. Like, you can be lonely without being alone, because you can still have loads of people around you, but just not be supported in the way that you would want to or feel that you need to be. If that makes sense. There's also this stigma that craving connection is a weakness. It's definitely not a weakness. We as humans crave other humans. We crave connection. And that's how we're meant to be. We're meant to want to be in each other's lives and support each other and know about each other. And as humans, we're very inquisitive beings. I'm very nosy. I'm very smart. I mean, we want to be able to share that with other people, whether that's romantic or platonic. People crave connections, especially now everything in this day and age is digital, and it's even more easier to stay connected with people. It creates kind of it's almost weird because like we're more connected than we ever are digitally, but in person we're probably less because we have access to be so digital. So I know that when I was younger, I would go and see my friends so much more because we didn't have things like Instagram and Facebook, and like we didn't have all these things that were so easily accessible. Now I know what all my friends are up to by like looking at their social media, and they would know the same about me. But like we don't actually have a deep conversation because we all know that social media is a bit of a facade for like the best bits of your life, and it's not the true honest way of feeling. So unless you have a conversation with that person, you truly know how they are and how they're feeling. So the digital world has been like really great regarding accessibility and connections, but there's also a huge disconnect because we're not having as many face-to-face conversations and deep conversations. And I'm such a person that loves like I just love deep connections with people. I like to know everything. Like, don't there's no such thing as TMI in my book. Like, tell me everything. I love it. I love knowing everything about a person. And so some people can find that a bit like strange or scary, or was it like what's the word? Not daunting, but like what's the word? Vulnerable. Some people can find that quite vulnerable to like share so much of their lives, and I understand that totally because I definitely don't share everything of my life with people because I don't trust everyone. But people that are my friends and that are my family and the people that I do trust, I will happily tell them everything that I want them to know. Because I feel like it's really lovely and intimate to know so much about a person. I don't know. I just love it. I love it. Anyway, I digress. What else did I write on? I wrote there's this unspoken pressure to be okay on your own, especially if someone who seems strong or independent. But craving closeness doesn't mean that you're a failure. Because even if you are really independent and strong and like an independent woman, you can still crave people in your life. Everyone needs someone to just talk to, vent to, be with, watch TV with. Just connections is just so important within this world. So it's not a failure to crave that because it's in our DNA to want to be with people. Even if you are an introvert, I feel like I'm quite introverted and I like my own personal space. I love to be on my own to decompress, but I still crave people and like certain people will really energize me and really add to my life and like when I see them I always feel better. So you crave those kind of people. And the other thing that I think and the other thing that I was thinking is that you crave intimacy. But when I say intimacy, intimacy is more than just text. Intimacy is communication and the feeling of being heard and understood and seen. That's what intimacy is. That connection between two people that are so deep that you just feel intimate. And it's often confused that people like only see it as text, but it's so much more. And that's what I truly love is intimacy. I just think it's such like a special thing to experience. I just think it makes you feel really good within yourself when you're able to let down your guard and be intimate with someone in a way that you wouldn't in your normal day-to-day life. It's just really rewarding and it makes you feel so good about yourself. So if you don't have anyone that you are intimate with, find someone because it is the most rewarding feeling to be so seen and heard by someone. So I highly recommend. The other thing that I was thinking about with the world being so digital, that we're so like half connected, and I was thinking about it because the other night I was texting someone very late at night, and they left me on red, and that is the one thing that I hate more than anything is someone reading my message and then leaving me on red, especially someone that I'm like intimate with and like they know me and I know them. Like I hate it. But but anyway, what was I gonna say? Oh, so but I was texting them because I missed them, and then what I realised was I might not have actually missed them, but I missed the feeling of being known because she knew me so well, and she still knows me so well, and that feeling of just someone being able to see you and understand you and being heard was what I miss. And that's the feeling that I crave the most. Not necessarily the craving of being in a relationship, but just the craving of having someone that sees me, hears me, and just knows me. And that is connection and intimacy, which is a topic that I keep talking about. But that's the feeling that I crave, and I feel like that's the feeling that so many other people crave. Not necessarily a romantic relationship, just someone that sees them and knows them and that's there for them. And that's a very normal thing to want to crave. And I'm saying and a lot, but it's a very normal thing. Also, when you lose that person that does know you so well, it's almost as bad as like a breakup, because like when people say that they lost their best friend, that is worse than a relationship almost, because your best friend knows you better than anyone else, and the level of communication and knowledge and intimacy that can almost outweigh your relationships. So when you lose that, it can be such a heartbreak, because not only do you not have that person that knows you so well, but then you also got to go out and try and find that again, which is tragic, especially in like this day and age where we have dating apps and all that stuff. It's just tragic out there. You don't want to be out there. You don't want to be on the apps. You just don't want to do it. And also, that person knows you so well, and then you got to start all over again. You got to do like the introduction, and you got to get to know each other, find out whether you like each other, see if there's a vibe. Either go on a date or like their friend thing. It's a whole thing. So like, I understand how hard it is when you lose someone that is your person. It's so hard. And especially I think for female friendships and relationships, it can be harder because I feel like women are a lot more vulnerable. We let down our guards a bit easier. We share so much of our life. Men are much more like, they don't gossip, they don't really care for information. No, I mean, I'm generalizing, but come on. Men don't like to like share all the details of their life, whereas women really do enjoy like the gossip, the tea, knowing everything, no TMI, tell me everything. So when you lose that person, it's a bit of a roller coaster, just a little bit. Being alone isn't always painful, but being lonely is what is painful, because you can be alone but surrounded by people that love and support and see and hear you. But being lonely is having those people around you without being seen or known or heard. And we want to find somewhere in the middle. Everyone kind of wants to feel less lonely in the world, and that's possible. But in order to do that, you have to be more vulnerable, more out there. You have to choose to let your guard down a bit and either open up to someone and tell them how you feel, or try and find someone else, someone new that you relate to, that you share similar similarities with, and find a new friend or a new partner or someone just to confide in, to tell them how you feel, even though it's very, very hard, I will say. Or if you're not really a talkative person like that, then you can start by journaling and writing down your thoughts and starting to process them in your own head first. I find that really useful to actually write down how I'm feeling, and then I can process it, and then I can start to implement changes. And it's hard to make changes, but you have to really sit down with yourself and say, are you currently happy with the way that you're feeling? And if not, then you start to want to implement changes and to try and be the best person you can be, but also find people that love and support you in the same way that you love and support them, which I think is really, really nice. But as we're getting to the end of this episode, I wanted to remind you all that being alone isn't painful, but loneliness is. And loneliness is a signal to ourselves to make change and to find someone that is able to make you feel heard and seen. And it's also a feeling that we shouldn't ignore and one that we should not be ashamed of, because everyone in the world has felt lonely at some point. But it's up to you to find change and to find someone to make you not feel lonely. And if you have felt this way lately, you're not broken. And if you have felt this way lately, you're not broken. You're not whoa, I can't think. You're not broken. You're not needy. You're just human. Every human has felt this way in their lifetime. And it's okay to feel this way. It's okay to feel lonely. If you're feeling lonely today or relate to anything that I said in this episode, you're not alone. I see you. I feel you. Feel free to DM me or voice me about your relationship with loneliness, and let's have a chat. But that's all for today. Thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you next week. Bye.